Right, this one's going to be a bit rushed. This is the pump attachment, the PF400MP. This goes on the power heads, the 18 volt, the 36 volt, the 40 volt, whichever one you happen to have. You can chuck this thing on. It is pretty basic looking. That's it. Shove that in the water and the water will come flying out of here. So that is 25 millimeters across, so you want a 25 ID on your pipe, and I've got that sitting over there. I need to use this very soon, I'm guessing, because there is a weather warning in Auckland in place at the moment from 8 o'clock tonight. It's going to be a fun night. It's already been a fun friggin' long weekend. Flooding, no power, wife in hospital, all sorts of shit went down. So, you don't need to know all that though. You want to know about this. I'll tell you about it probably after I've used it, because I don't know all the specs yet, because I haven't had time to swat up on it because I need to use the damn thing. So I'm going to go test it out right now. Woo! You little beauty. That's what I need. Pardon the mess, but it did flood 2 or 3 days ago. Anyway, let's see how high this thing sprays. Give it another whack. That's the business, man. Okay, I've got a 4 amp hour battery on it. We have 23 meters of pipe. And that pipe is attached to the top of the fence at the moment. Can it get through 23 meters of pipe and about 2 meters, or just under 2 meters? Actually, from the bottom of the pit to the top of that fence is more like 3 meters. I think I'd call that a success. Now, I'm not going to be firing it up the fence like that, obviously. I'm going to be firing it out into the street at street level, not a couple of meters in the air, so it'll be even better. Right, so I am ready to go. I've done plenty of tests. Yeah, I know it's not a great idea to put a plastic bag around the motor and everything, but when I'm using this, if I have to use it, it's going to be absolutely heaving down with rain. And I think heaving down with rain, getting into the battery, the motor, the switches and everything is going to be worse than a few minutes with that bag on it. Because the rain, it won't last long, no doubt. It'll just be an intense 5 or 10 minutes and then it'll all be over like the other night. I've done plenty of tests, I'm happy with it. I'm ready to go and chuck it out on the road when I need to. Sandbag to hold it down out in the street. And yeah, bring it on, Mother Nature. Let's see how we go with about, what are we up to, about round 4? But I bet nothing will happen and I will have run out and grabbed this thing for nothing. But anyway, let's see. I don't know how easy it's going to be to video it if it does go apeshit. Yeah, because it's a bit full on. Right, I got a bunch of batteries. I've got a chainsaw in case any trees come down, because with this amount of rain and the wind supposedly getting up to 100 kilometers an hour tonight, there's going to be trees down all over Auckland, because when the ground's that wet and there's wind, trees just can't hang on. Nothing to grip to. I've got a torch and my lantern with the radio, which was very handy the other night, both of those. Shit ton of batteries. Hopefully that's enough to keep me going with everything. Sure it will be. It's actually amazing how much drainage can cope, except it's about to be swamped. Fuck, I can see the water coming up now. It's now above the pipe. It's not coping now. Oh, any second now. Okay, with the risk of flooding subsided, let's take a look at how these compare to each other with the volume of water they can move. On the left we have the 18 volt, in the middle the 18 by 2 or 36 volt, and on the end the 40 volt, which is of course also 36 volt as well. So 5 amp hour battery, 2 5 amp hour batteries, 1 5 amp hour battery. I'm gonna fire these into a bucket with a 3 meter hose, clear hose out there. See how long it takes to fill a 20 litre bucket with each one going full whack. It's a bit full on. Okay, I did a few little tests and I've decided that just holding it with one hand while I've got my other hand on the trigger is probably the way to go. You can just see how far it sort of fires. This thing has been draining everything I bung it into so fast. So for this test I've got the 18 volt hooked up and I am going to run it just on its lowest speed so we can see at its slowest how quick it will empty this pit. This isn't a massive pit obviously, but there's still got to be 30 litres or more of water in there. Let's go! Even on that slow speed, still perfectly serviceable for cleaning out small things and even shifting quite a bit of water. It's still moving pretty fast. I didn't quite see the time, but it was probably about 30 litres in 30 seconds, so it's moving pretty quick. Right, let's take a look at the numbers on how much this thing moves for each different tool. Personally, I think they're all pretty good, even the 18 volt. You know, depending on what you want to do. If you're using it every day, then of course the 40 volt's going to be much nicer, much quicker to use, but the 18 volt much lighter. So I'm going to give you a whole lot of numbers. I'll put the numbers up on the screen because it's hard to remember them all, I know, and I don't want to rattle all of them off, so I'll just give you sort of the top. The 40 volt can shift up to 150 litres a minute at top speed to 15 metres high. The 36 volt, pretty close, pretty similar numbers, 145, only 5 litres less per minute than the 40 volt, and this one 120, so they're not too bad, you know. That's definitely a lot less obviously, but still doable. This will get you to 1 metre less height than that, so 14 metres, and you're looking at about 11 I think it is for this one. In the lowest speed, this one's actually a little higher than these two running at about 95 litres a minute, whereas this is 100. Of course this only has 2 speeds where these have 3, so the mid speed on these is the same I think at 140, it'll be on the screen there somewhere. So the mid strength on both of these pretty close to the top speed. Now if you want something to compare that to, all those numbers, the Milwaukee M12 stick pump that you may have seen me review on this channel, that can do 1/5 of what the 40 volt can do. So that's 34 litres a minute, this 150, so nearly 5 times as much, and it also can fire the water more than 3 times as high, with a head of 15 metres on this and 4.6 on the Milwaukee. Even the 18 volt one will do significantly better than the stick pump. This one doing nearly 4 times as much when it comes to pumping litres, 120 compared to 34, and head height of more than double the Milwaukee. If you're interested in buying one of these, it's pretty new, but if I've found any links I'll stick them down below. Check out Tradie Republic in New Zealand, I'll send them an email, make sure they get it up on their website. Now technically this one you're not allowed to use in New Zealand with that attachment because of electromagnetic regulations. I'll put that up on the screen here now too if you want to read about that. The serial number on this is below what it says it has to be on what's written on the screen right now. Although if you download the manual from Makita New Zealand, it doesn't mention it at all. There's a bit of wind noise at the moment, I'm sorry. There's a lot of wind blowing in here. It's very windy today after this flood. And there's also fans and dehumidifiers and everything going in here. It's all a bit noisy. Now looking closer at the pump, if you need to clean it out, remove one screw, give it a twist, take that bit of mesh off, and you can rinse it out inside if it's managed to get bunged up with sand or silt or anything. Of course, try not to suck up sand and silt if you want to keep this thing running as long as possible. Fresh water, if you're sucking up really muddy shit or stuff with sand and stuff in it, try and keep it off the bottom. put a block or something down and then rest this on top of that, it'll still suck through fine because it's got these sort of tiny little legs on it. You can suck at 20 millimeters starting off depth. You can get it down to about 10 millimeters once it's running, and it fires out water good and fast with the right hose on it. Inside diameter, as I told you earlier, of 25 millimeters or 1 inch. That easily screws off if you want to take it off, and it comes with a clamp to clamp on your hose, so that's good. Doesn't come with the hose. But yeah, pretty simple unit, weighs next to nothing, says it's a kg, I don't even think it's that, to be honest. And it's only a short little thing, 700 odd long. But very, very handy, and very handy when you need to move a lot of water quick. And yeah, if you want to clear out some flood water, very handy tool to have. Would have been very handy for a lot of Aucklanders a few days ago, as long as you didn't have a really big flood, because yeah, if the water's over the level of your car, or it's you know your bed's floating around, this might be struggling a bit to keep up with that. So it's quite good fun. It's very cool, very handy, and I wish I'd had it a week earlier. Anyway, so thanks boys and girls for watching once again. Just a quick one this week, and I'll check you all out again next week. Thanks guys.